Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. The other day, while browsing the internet, I found a brand new opening trap that's absolutely spectacular, allowing us to win in just 8 moves. It's with the white pieces and it happens when we play e4. This trap has fascinated me, especially because, why? Because it's played against the Sicilian defense. And as we know, the Sicilian defense is one of the best defenses in the world. It's very hard to break through. So with this trap, we'll be able to win in just 8 moves. I like this trap so much that I've brought Stitch here to join us. So I've already done all the dirty work of searching for and thoroughly studying this trap so I can teach it to you. So all you have to do is leave me a nice like, and that way everyone is happy. Alright, Chessteacher, how should I play this trap when someone plays the Sicilian defense against me? Well, you're going to continue with the most natural move in the world, knight to f3. Alright? All of this is normal. Notice that we'd be in a standard, straightforward Sicilian d6, and then comes d4. Chessteacher, but is this a trap, or is it the Sicilian that everyone knows? Well, up to this point, it's the Sicilian that everyone knows. From here on is where it changes. You'll see the best move here, without a doubt, is to capture, in case anyone doesn't know, alright? The main idea of the Sicilian is to play c5 in order to use a flank pawn to exchange for a central pawn. That's why after the theoretical moves, when white plays d4, black wants to capture this d4 pawn. Alright? This is theoretical. What happens is that here, theory tells us we should capture with the knight. And what are we going to do? Take with the queen? A rather unusual move which already starts to go out of theory. Why is this move rare and not usually played? And why does theory say knight takes? Because there's this move, knight to c6, which directly attacks the queen and makes us lose a tempo. It's true, there are people who have played this and with success. But here, the theoretical move is bishop to b5, pinning this knight because that way it can no longer capture the queen. However, check out this spectacular trap. We're not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is move our queen to the a5 square. Alright? It's super important to remember this. When the queen is attacked by the knight, we'll place it there. A 5 is going to be a key spot. Alright, here. What's the most logical move in the world? I'm sure you're all thinking the same thing. We're pinning this knight. There's a move, bishop to d7, that seems to bother us a lot. Why? First, it's no longer pinned. Second, it's threatening discovered attacks. If this knight moves away, then now it would capture our queen. Or rather, it would attack our queen. And pay attention because this trap is so good, so funny, and so spectacular. Thank you! That at the very beginning, we make 3 consecutive queen moves. Chess teacher, let me ask you a question. All my life, you and every chess teacher have told me not to move the same piece several times. So, how can it be that, look at this, we capture this pawn with the queen, that's 1, then our queen gets attacked, that's 2, and now when the bishop plays to the 7, that's 3, and we come here. A strange move. It takes away the square from the bishop. The queen moves again. It's still pinned by the other bishop. Chester, are you going crazy? Yes, I am going crazy, but you'll see that this trap is absolutely amazing. And very importantly, it works. Which is the most important thing. I've been testing it and it works. Here, what is the best move for black and the most commonly played one? Well, obviously to unpin ourselves. How do you say this? A discovered attack, I can't even speak, forgive me. The discovered attack, knight to d4. Look at how strong this move is. First, they're attacking our queen. Move it as it's attacked by the bishop and knight. Second, they're threatening to exchange here and double our pawns. Third, they're threatening to capture here and win our rook. Check. And they take our rook. So, we'd be facing a triple attack that we wouldn't know how to stop. For example, if we captured here, it would be a very bad move. Why? Because they'd capture here, give check, and then take our rook, since this rook is already well defended. So how should we react, chess teacher? If they play this move against us, we're already lost. Because look, the brilliant move here means we're completely winning, right? They can't do anything, we're totally winning. With which move? Knight takes knight. And we let them take our queen. Chess teacher, you're really going crazy, yes. But notice that if they take the queen, we simply bring in the other bishop and now we give check. Check. And this king can move away. Can't go here, nor here either. What do they have to do? Give us their queen. In conclusion, when we take the queen, just notice that they have to recapture logically, if not even better for us, right? And when they recapture, we end up with 1, 2, 3 pieces in exchange for 2. We have a clean extra piece, an extra knight. And this is just the beginning, because what comes next is much, much better. Everything is very nice if when we come here, they play this mistake that seems a brutal move for the black pieces. Remember, it's a mistake. Why? What should we do? Capture this knight with the knight, alright? But alright, Chessteacher, everything is very nice and they do this to me, but if they play a normal move to defend this pawn, which is what we're attacking, like for example queen to c7, which I'm sure all of you have thought of, what should we do? Well, here we're going to carry out the windmill attack, and you're going to be amazed by the windmill attack. Just watch. Windmill. You're going to be amazed, it's spectacular. Queen to c7, knight to c3, we develop the knight. Alright, what are we going to do here? Well, the black pieces in this position really have to think carefully about something. Now, this queen is here, actively attacking this point, and it can also move to the other side of the board. It's a bit dangerous, isn't it? And what's the most normal thing for them to do in this situation? A 6, right? Since this queen can't do anything, they play a 6. And this is a mistake. A serious mistake that you need to know how to punish. You need to punish it with the windmill attack. Knight to d5, and we've won the game. Spectacular. You attack my queen, I attack yours too. Obviously, it can't be captured. Right? Why? Because we would capture theirs, and not only that, but check and we take the rook. That's why this queen can't be captured. Very good. If the queen isn't captured after knight to d5, what should black do? Well, very good. If we're attacking the queen and we're attacking this pawn, they have several options. They have to move the queen back and protect this pawn. One option would be here, and another would be here, but it doesn't matter to us where they go. Why? Because here we're going to infiltrate the queen through these dark squares. And notice that we're threatening to jump with the knight, give check, and take the rook. But here it doesn't matter what they do to us because they can't defend against this, right? And so what we'll do is what you do in the windmill attack, which is, for example, knight to f6 check, right? They have to move the king. It's the only move. Very good. And then we capture with check. They have to move the king, check, and they have to move the king, and we keep capturing everything. Check, and they have to move the king, check, and they have to move the king. Do you see it? Here you can keep capturing everything. But here you can't capture anything else. For example, you can give check. They must move the king. We capture this knight. Check. Now they don't have to move the king, but must capture here. So we end up with an extra rook. And surely, if they move the rook away, we would be left with extra material. And we could keep capturing whatever we want. And when we get tired, we develop our pair of bishops, and we're in a much better position than our opponent. The windmill attack is spectacular, but it's not everything. Alright, Chessteacher, so remember, if they play queen to c7, I'm going to play knight to c3. And you told me, Chessteacher, if they play a6, we're going to launch the windmill attack on them. Wrong. But of course, we're back to the same old thing. What happens if they don't play a6? Because a6 is very nice, I hit them with the attack, and that's it. Let's move forward. Notice they moved the queen to c7 to give the king some breathing room. What does it mean to give the king some breathing room? This is very important. The king here can't move. It has no breathing space. Now that the queen has moved away, the king could move. And you'll see why this is so important. Because now it seems that knight to d4 is possible again. Why? Well, for the same reason as before, but now we couldn't come in to check and force them to block with the queen because the king could move away. So now, at this very moment, this move looks absolutely spectacular. Chessteacher, please, tell me there's some way to punish it. Some way to respond. Well, of course, since you've kindly left me a nice like and I'm very happy with you all, I'm going to show you exactly how to punish it right away because it's actually very, very simple. You are the best chess community in the world, you know? As I always say, we're not many, we're few, but we get along really, really well. I give you these videos as a gift and you give me a nice like and a good comment. It's punished in the same way. Knight takes on d5, giving up the queen again. Chessteacher, today you really are going completely crazy. Why? Because now when they capture this queen here, now when I capture with the bishop, I've given away my queen and they're not forced to give me theirs, right? They can move with the king. So now what? Well, you're absolutely right. I have to agree with you. Here, they don't have to give up their queen. But it's true that we have a very, very strong attack with our minor pieces. What are the minor pieces? The knights and the bishops. Look, knight to d5. We're attacking the queen, a queen that's hard to move. Because this bishop is covering this knight as well, and this knight too, so it's in a dangerous situation. If we look at the database and check Stockfish, what does it tell us? That this is an equal position. And what does it mean if we're in an equal position but we're down a queen? Well, it means that our position is much easier to attack and practically impossible for a human to defend. This means that only stockfish would be able to defend against this kind of attack. Let me explain. For example, natural moves, right? Where can the queen go? When we play over here, she could come to a5 to give us a check. And this would already be a serious mistake, because after bishop to a2, this queen would be completely trapped. As you can see, thanks to the minor pieces, our 4 minor pieces make sure the queen can't go anywhere. So take a look at this, okay? Knight to d4, queen f5 check. That's a mistake because of bishop to e2. Very well, but they're not forced to go queen f5 check. They have other squares. For example, what happens if they come here? Look, sorry, where are you going, crazy one? Notice that here they can't, here they can't, here they can't, and here we've seen it's a mistake. What happens if they come here? We're punishing all the options. If they come here, the right move is bishop to e3. And I suppose you all see the logic behind it, right? What's the logic? To line up this queen with the bishop on an x-ray to hit them with a spectacular pin and be able to launch a discovered attack with the knight. If it were our turn again, we would play, for example, knight to a6 check, check with the knight. They would have to capture here, and then we would capture the queen. And here, notice that it doesn't have any other squares because it can't capture here or here or here or here or here. It could only come here. And it would be losing a tempo because it lets us develop this bishop. So, before making you waste your time, I'll just explain directly what happens if they go back here. If they play c5 first, then bishop here, then come here, it's exactly the same. But they've lost a tempo. Alright? They've lost a tempo. Why? Because we've developed the bishop. This would be the best solution to go back. Even so, it doesn't mean we're going to lose. We have a super strong move. So look, this is very easy to remember because the answer is the same. Bishop to d2. The same as before, remember? If they come with the queen here, bishop to d2. First bishop here, and when they go back, bishop to d2. So what if they come directly here? Bishop to d2 as well. And what are we threatening with this bishop? Well, it's very easy, right? I'm sure you're all seeing it. Come over here and with the 2 swordsmen, deliver a checkmate to the king in the not-so-distant future. So here, what would be a logical move? Well, I'm sure you'll agree with me that if we play bishop to d2, most people will think, well, I'll play g6 and prevent you from coming here with the bishop. Well, I'm going to show you how to punish them whether they play g6 or not, because I like you to have all the options covered. Why? Because when you go out to battle, you can respond correctly no matter what they do. Alright? Very good. What happens if they play this move? How should we continue? Well, here we have a pretty interesting and quite notable solution to this problem. Notice that they've left us each. Every pawn move creates a weakness, alright? That's what my teacher always told me. When this pawn advances, look at this weakness we can take advantage of with the knight check. And what are we accomplishing with this check? We're forcing our opponent to move the king. And not only that, because they can't go here since the knight is covering it. So they have to move on to the same diagonal as the bishop, either here or here. What would we do? Take advantage of the discovered attack again. By capturing, we would capture the queen on the next move. Therefore, we would recover the queen and have extra material. We would be completely winning. Very well, this is very nice, chess teacher. But what happens if here, when I play bishop to d2, they do not play g6? Of course, because they've seen that g6 is a very bad move because of the knight jump. And they play something else, for example, knight to f6. What should I do? Well, logically, if they don't prevent our threat, we'll go ahead and carry it out. And now, they only have 2 options because the king can't move. You see that, right? One is to give us the queen as a gift. If they do, perfect. And if they don't give it to us, they have g6, which seems much better. How should we continue? Well, obviously, we should sacrifice our knight. I'm sure you all have seen this move. Knight takes g6, a double exclamation mark move. We attack the queen, we attack the rook, so if they don't capture this knight, they're going to lose material. And it would be a discovered check. What they have to do is capture here. They have no choice. Do you see it? No, they do have another option. And then bishop takes pawn, check. And what's happening? That this king can't escape. Notice that they've played the best move in the position, pulling the queen back. Even so, notice how hard it is to defend, right? So now, since they can't move the king, they have to sacrifice the queen again. Very simple. We capture it, and then they capture ours. It's true, they've played the correct move in the position because we've won the queen, but they also just won ours a moment ago, right? So we have two pieces against two pieces, two rooks against two rooks. But we do have two extra pawns that will be very easy to simply take to the end. Notice that they've played correctly. However, we can castle and bring the rooks to the center. We have two extra pawns. Even so, the position is still much better for us. And now, before I explain the best part of the video, which is the final trick that for me is the crown jewel of the video, I have to explain a detail that you can't overlook. Why? Because if here, when we're attacking, they've played queen to c7 and we play knight to c3, but they don't play a 6, okay? Instead, they play another kind of discovered move, right? A discovered move with this knight. We've seen that this loses to knight takes knight. But what happens if they play it here? Of course, Chessteacher, here we might have more problems. Does the sacrifice work? Well, yes. The queen sacrifice, knight takes knight, does work, and it's epic. Pay attention, knight takes knight. I'll just go through it quickly because it's very easy to understand. Why? Because now when they capture our queen, it's true that when we capture the bishop, this king can move. If they give us the queen, wow, fantastic. We capture it and that's it. But they can move the king, right? And when they move the king, we come in from the other side. Look, check over here. And when the king moves, we're going to capture the rook. And even though we don't have a queen and they do, we have a material advantage, and on top of that, our pieces are much better placed. And this knight will also be able to get out again. They won't be able to capture it. So this is a very favorable position for us. It's just too complicated, no matter that our opponent has the queen, to win this game with black. Because if you start counting, I don't want to waste your time in the video, you can do it later, or I'll just tell you now, we have a material advantage. And now finally, we move on to the crown jewel of the video. So, everything I've explained to you so far is how to win with this trap. But now, look, we've seen that on move 6, we hit them with the windmill attack. If they came with the knight, we hit them with the queen sacrifice. If they came with the knight, we hit them with the queen sacrifice. But now, Chessteacher, since you've been trying this out, tell me, what do people most often play against you in real games? And now, in this final part of the video, I'll quickly explain how to win if they play what they've played against me. Alright? The real part. Everything looks great in theory, right? But what do people actually play against you? What they played against me most here is knight to f6, not a6, which they've also played, nor this one or this one. They've played all three, but the one they've played most is knight to f6. So what do? Well, here I set up a spectacular trap that I love. I play with their psychology. I say, I'm pretty scared that they'll start attacking my queen with a6 and b5. So what do? I pretend to retreat it. I pull it back just a little. And then, honestly, most people want to launch this attack to bother the queen even more. Right? Does the queen bother you? Well, then here I come to attack you. And what I do is jump with the knight. Now, you'll see the importance of having the queen here. Why? Because I'm threatening to capture here and double their pawns. That's something nobody wants. Because I'm threatening the queen and to double the pawns. So they don't want to move the queen because otherwise I'd open up their king. So what do? They capture here and they're already completely lost. Because simply after pawn takes pawn, this knight is pinned. They don't realize that the queen is undefended back here. So we attack the knight, and this knight can't move. Notice one thing. If they try to chase away our queen, which is what they always do to me, it's super important. There's only one move that wins, and that's to stay on the same file as the opponent's queen. Now, they can't move the knight because we would win the queen. So whatever they do, what will we do? Well, simply capture the knight and play with an extra piece. Well, this fabulous trap, which I absolutely loved. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if you already knew it or not, because I had no idea and I loved it. Please, please, leave me a like. I work hard to make a video for you every single day. All you have to do is watch and enjoy it. So leave me a good like. And now, friends, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.